Good morning, children. Let's re-begin our lesson, The Enemy. Day before yesterday, we read that while Sadao Hockey and his wife were standing in their house in the veranda, they saw there was a misty figure coming out of the sea. And when they went there to find out who that was, they found that that was a person from US Navy, a prisoner of war. Let's re-begin our lesson from page number 29. Thus agreed together they lifted the man. He was very light, like a fowl that had been half starved. This is their house where they wanted to take the man until it is only feathers and skeleton. So he was so light to carry. So his arms hanging, they carried him up the steps and into the side door of the house. This door opened into a passage, and down the passage they carried the man towards an empty bedroom. It had been the bedroom of Sadao's father, and since his death it had not been used. They laid the man on the deeply matted floor. Everything here had been Japanese to please the old man, who would never in his own home sit on a chair or sleep in a foreign bed. So we have learned about the character of Sadao's father, who was nationalist, and he never allowed anything else in his house other than Japanese. See the irony, children, that now in his room and on his bed after his death would lie a foreigner, and that also an American. Hannah went to the wall cupboards and slid back a door and took out a soft quilt. She hesitated. The quilt was covered with flowered silk and the lining was pure white silk. So, as it was a beautiful covering, she did not want to put it on the dirty American. So, though they had brought him inside the house, and they themselves felt that he was like a fowl. Fowl, children, is a bird, and that also who has not eaten for a long time. But still, Hannah did not want to cover him with the flowered silk quilt because she said that he was appearing to be so dirty. Yes, he had better be washed, Sadao agreed. If you will fetch hot water, I will wash him. I cannot bear for you to touch him, she said. We shall have to tell the servants he is here. I will tell Yumi now. She can leave the children for a few minutes and she can wash him. Sadao considered a moment. Let it be so, he agreed. You tell Yumi and I will tell the others. So the couple has decided to inform about the presence of American in the house to the servants. But the utter pallor of the man's unconscious face moved him first to stoop and feel his pulse. So, as children, Sadao was a doctor, a surgeon, he bent down to find out about the condition of the patient. It was faint, but it was there. What, children? Pulse. Pulse was faint, but pulse was still there. It suggested that he was alive. He puts his hand against the man's cold breast. The heart too was yet alive. He will die unless he is operated on, Sadao said, considering. The question is whether he will not die anyway. Hannah cried out in fear. Don't try to save him. What if he should live? What if he should die? Sadao replied. So Sadao is suggesting that he might die even if the operation is done. Because here Sadao feels that being a surgeon, it is his foremost duty to operate upon the patient that has come in front of him. But Hannah doesn't believe, she is doubting this. because she knows that her husband is so skillful that in any condition he would save that man. He stood gazing down on the motionless man. This man must have extraordinary vitality, or he would have been dead by now. Sadao, when looks intently at the patient, he talks about the energy of the young boy. But then he was very young, perhaps not yet 25. You mean die from the operation? Hannah asked. Yes, Sadao said. Hannah considered this doubtfully, and when she did not answer, Sadao turned away. At any rate, something must be done with him, he said, and first he must be washed. He went quickly out of the room, and Hannah came behind him. She did not wish to be left alone with the white man. He was the first she had seen since she left America, and now he seemed to have nothing to do with those whom she had known there. Here he was her enemy, a menace, living or dead. So Hannah followed Sadao because she did not want to be left alone with an enemy. She turned to the nursery and called Yumi. But the children heard her voice and she had to go in for a moment and smile at them and play with the baby boy, now nearly 3 months old. Over the baby's soft black hair, she motioned with her mouth, Yumi, come with me. I will put the baby to bed, Yumi replied. He is ready. She went with Yumi into the bedroom next to the nursery and stood with the boy in her arms while Yumi spread the sleeping quilts on the floor and laid the baby between them. Then Hannah led the way quickly and softly to the kitchen. The two servants were frightened at what their master had just told them. The old gardener, who was also a house servant, pulled the few hair on his upper lip. Why? Because they were tensed when they heard about enemy's presence in the house. The master ought not to heal the wound of this white man, he said bluntly to Hannah. The white man ought to die. First he was shot, then the sea caught him and wounded him with her rocks. If the master heals what the gun did and what the sea did, they will take revenge on us. So it was his opinion that sea would take revenge from them as their house is on the seashore. Therefore, they should be very cautious before saving this kind of person. I will tell him what you say, Hannah replied courteously. But she herself was also frightened, although she was not superstitious as the old man was. Could it ever be well to help an enemy? So that was a doubt in her mind also. Nevertheless, she told Yumi to fetch the hot water and bring it to the room where the white man was. She went ahead and slid back the partitions, that is, open. Sada was not yet there. Yumi, following, put down her wooden bucket. Then she went over to the white man. When she saw him, her thick lips folded themselves into stubbornness. I have never washed a white man, she said, and I will not wash so dirty a one now. So Yumi refused to wash the American. Hannah cried at her severely. You will do what your master commands you. There was so fierce a look of resistance upon Yumi's round, dull face that Hannah felt unreasonably afraid. Why? After all, if the servant should report something that was not as it happened. This is the most important point, children. Because of this only they were afraid. The couple was afraid. Very well, she said with dignity. You understand, we only want to bring him to his senses so that we can turn him over as a prisoner. I will have nothing to do with it, Yumi said. I am a poor person and it is not my business. Then please, Hana said gently, return to your own work. At once Yumi left the room, but this left Hana with the white man alone. She might have been too afraid to stay had not her anger at Yumi's stubbornness now sustained her. Now, before also, you remember, children, when Sadao moved out of the room, she also followed him because she did not want to be stayed alone with the enemy. But now, here the problem is that as the servant Yumi has refused, she has to stay there because, after all, she has to do. Stupid Yumi, she muttered fiercely. Is this anything but a man and a wounded, helpless man? In the conviction of her own superiority, she bent impulsively and untied the knotted rugs that kept the white man covered. When she had his breast bare, she dipped the small clean towel that Yumi had brought into the steaming hot water and washed his face carefully. The man's skin, though rough with exposure, was of a fine texture and must have been very blond when he was a child. So she started to open the torn clothes of the American and started to wash him as her husband had commanded her. So till here, children, we are going to do, and we'll continue on the next turn.